The thing about the prior two entries in the Yomawari series, that being Night Alone and Midnight Shadows, is that they were initially Vita games, which helps to explain a lot of aspects about those games. Why they're short, why they're on the easier side, and the general scope and what you do in the game. It's kept simple. But Yomawari Lost in the Dark wasn't held to those same standards. Lost in the Dark was made 5 years later for the Switch, PS4, and PC in 2022. Between the gap in time and working with different hardware, that makes it a pretty good time to not just revisit Yomawari, but also to mix things up a little bit. Thank you to my supporters. If you liked the video, consider subscribing, or even joining the Patreon. Link on screen and in the description. If you do, you'll be thanked in the videos, be able to watch each video a week early, as well as gain access to bonus videos. With a series first, you're given character creation right from the start. The options given to you are quite limited. Like, you've got shit all for your shirts or hair accessories, with the most freedom you're given being what kind of hair you're rocking from the handful of options presented to you. I get why. The game's hand-drawn. The more options given to you, the more character sprites that need to be made. And in addition to physical appearance, now you can choose her name. It defaults to Yuzu, which is what I went with. Much like the prior games, Lost in the Dark continues the trend of having some rough-ass opening sequences. Yuzu is getting bullied at school and is experiencing the whole fucking gamut. The physical abuse, the mental stress, the social ostracization, and being made to fucking eat some worm. This opening sequence ends with Yuzu walking down the school roof, ending with some serious fucking imagery with heavy implications, as the only song in not just the game, but the whole series outside of the credits plays. It's a really pretty and very melancholic track that fits the tone of the games pretty well. Hearing this kinda makes me sad that there wasn't more music composed for the series as a whole, because clearly the composer here knows how to cook. And while not as graphic as Midnight Shadows' opening, it's still heavy subject matter. And damn, is the snow area you find yourself in for the tutorial so fucking pretty. I love the aesthetics of snow, and seeing this makes me kinda wish that this game took place during winter, so there would be more snowy areas. There's a fair amount of differences between Lost in the Dark and its prior games, with the first being the way the flashlight feels. The flashlight is way smoother when aiming it. In the prior two games, when you'd aim your flashlight, it'd snap to the left or right, while in Lost in the Dark, it can be aimed a lot more freely. When you're standing still, you're able to give it a full 360-degree spin. This has resulted in the flashlight feeling way slower than the prior games, as rather than snapping to where it's being pointed, it glides that direction instead. Not only that, but this results in a weird mix of analog and digital controls between the flashlight and Yuzu's movement. Yuzu walks on a digital 8-directional movement, and the flashlight is more of an analog 360 degrees. It's just kinda odd to me. Either the flashlight should have been kept the same, or Yuzu should have been given smoother movement so that the left and right sticks don't feel like they come from different games. In Lost in the Dark, Yuzu no longer hides behind objects away from ghosts. That's some bitch-made shit for cowards. Nah, she's able to walk right past ghosts so long as her eyes are closed. When both triggers are held down, Yuzu closes her eyes and she's still able to detect nearby ghosts, but the ghosts don't detect her. For some reason, ghosts take on sight a little too literal. Okay, so it completely de-aggroes ghosts. Sick. But not gonna lie, wish it was a touch faster. Yuzu moves at a snail's pace, man. When I'm passing by ghosts, it takes so long to enter and then leave their range. Being able to close your eyes changes the encounters with ghosts quite a bit compared to the previous entries. In Lost in the Dark, ghosts are not obstacles that you can run around. They're not placed on wide streets, and sometimes they'll even spawn in a way to trap you. In these situations, it's not about running, but about disengaging entirely and either passing them or letting them pass. It's a similar intent to hiding in the previous games in that the goal is the same, but it is more active than just hiding. Which I like what they're going for. Just make it a touch faster, please. And removed completely are the charms. No more upgrading at all. Whatever you're capable of is what you've got to work with for the game. I played this game coming right off of Midnight Shadows, and man, do you feel the difference in stamina. Yuzu can't run for shit compared to Haru. All of the above changes I've described have been mechanical changes, the type of shit that affect gameplay and how it feels. Probably the biggest non-mechanical change in Lost in the Dark is a newly added sound effect that I'm sure you might have noticed by now. It is series standard that when there's a ghost nearby, a heartbeat sound plays. This is the same in Lost in the Dark, and that's fine. So why the fuck is there now a new high-pitched ring in addition to the heartbeat? I straight up don't understand this inclusion at all. The heartbeat already serves the purpose that the ringing does, and it's not like the ringing replaces the heartbeat either, so it's redundant. So now the game has turned into a tinnitus simulator where whenever there's a ghost, there's a high-pitched ringing. Not the biggest fan of that. I am a fan of the relatively non-linear structure of this game. The game's story is that Yuzu is on some curse shit and she doesn't remember how to break it. So the game is about going to areas to find things that help her jog her memory about not only the events that led up to the curse, but also this mysterious older girl. When walking around the town, you'll find an initial object, such as a pencil or a bundle of a rice plant. And these let you see a flashback. The scene informs you of where to go. The thing is that you get multiple of these objects at once. With the pencil and rice plant, the game tells you you're able to either hang out with some scarecrows at the rice fields, or definitely not Slenderman at the school. I say relatively non-linear because it's not like you're allowed to do any of this memory collecting in whatever order. You're given your options in batches. Like after the first two, you're given some more options, but still not yet able to hit up the sea area, for example. When you're looking at the map, trying to find where to go, you might notice that this game has a fair amount of photography imagery. There's camera-themed tape on the map. The older girl is sometimes seen with a camera. Hell, there's even a camera in the game's logo. You'd think that with all this imagery that photography would play a larger role in this game, and it's way less than you think and way less than I hoped. The presence of photography is very understated compared to its presence in the game's fucking iconography. There is one section in this game where you do actually get to use a camera, which unfortunately doesn't last very long. This sucks because I really like this section. On this boat, you lose your flashlight and you get this camera which is able to outright kill ghosts with its flash, which requires you to aim and charge it up right before firing it off. It's a cool section that feels very different from the rest of the game. Now this may be some bias because I fucking love Fatal Frame, but I would have liked to have seen this mechanic expanded a bit more, potentially having the game built around using the flash to stun ghosts rather than utilizing the flashlight. The worst part is that the camera is only ever used in just this single room. Like, yeah, you do use the camera to finish off the boss, but I'm not going to really count that because it's barely used there. But yeah, this one fucking room is it, and then you lose the camera. So cameras are barely used mechanically and are practically non-existent in the story as well. Which I think this was a mistake, and the game could have leaned into photography more to better fit the themes and narrative of Lost in the Dark. I've said before that the older girl is sometimes seen taking pictures, but that's where that begins and ends. I think it would have been more interesting if instead of random objects being the things you find at the end of areas, it would be better if it were pictures that the older girl took with Yuzu. The game is about trying to recollect memories, and what are pictures if not captured memories? That would make more sense at triggering memories more than some marble or a bookmark. All that wrapped up in the largest Yomawari game at 10 hours. At least that's what that took me on this second playthrough. Because I more or less knew what I was doing, you could add another 2 or 3 hours for the first time playthrough. That's a respectably ample game length. A lot of horror games tend to be on the shorter side, but I felt that the first 2 Yomawari games were on the too short side. But luckily Lost in the Dark doesn't have this problem. I know it sounds like I've been talking pretty negatively about this game for a lot of this, but that's because I was talking about the new aspects of this game compared to the prior entries. All the praises I had for those games apply here alongside its own unique charms. I'd say that this is the first time I'd suggest a game in this series is worth the MSRP of $50. At least the Switch version that I got is. Came with a mini art book. On Steam it looks to be just $40, which is pretty good. Though the game has gone on sale down to $20, so if you are the patient type, then might as well wait. But a Yomawari game that's twice as large as Midnight Shadows and still just as fun and charming is worth it to me.